So today's video is going to be my fall TBR. Before jumping into the books, a big thank you to GlassesUSAcom for sponsoring today's video. I have been using GlassesUSAcom for years now to get my glasses. I started using them before I ever started working with them, and then of course once I started working with them I was so excited because I had loved their glasses and I loved their service. They're an online glasses retailer that takes the middleman out of the equation, so you can just upload your prescription online as well as a picture of yourself, and then you can virtually try on glasses. They get shipped directly to you, and because they take the middleman out of the equation, they are much more affordable. You can get glasses from both their in-house brands as well as popular name brands. You can get regular glasses, or you can get sunglasses. You can get your sunglasses as prescription as well. And in case you don't quite know your prescription, you actually can use this feature they have that can determine your prescription for you. This is the pair that you have probably seen me wearing the most often. I absolutely love it. It has a little hint of cat eye with the rose gold top. This particular pair has the frames on the bottom, so it's kind of reverse of the other pair that I was wearing. So it doesn't actually have the frame on top, just down here. These are also just so comfortable, and while they have a hint of the up cat eye look on the ends, they also are close to that very, very classic round shape glasses. They're kind of a mix of everything that I like in glasses. I just absolutely love these. If you want something a little bit more bold though, and perhaps you like a more rectangular shape, I think these are amazing. So they actually kind of have an ombre effect down into the bottom, so they're darker on the top and on the legs of the glasses, but then they kind of ease into being clear on the bottom. I think these are amazing. They also have different colors that you can get, and you can get blue light glasses, so even if you don't need prescription glasses, you can also get glasses just to help your eyes out if you deal with a lot of electronics and screens. I'm actually going to stick with this pair for the rest of the video, but I will have information for GlassesUSA.com as well as these individual glasses in the description bar down below. But anyway, jumping into my fall TBR. I recently did an anticipated book releases video for fall, and I mentioned in that video that even though there are so many other books that I need to get around to, that I really want to get around to a lot of these as well. And I ultimately just decided I'm basically going to try as much as I can. No guarantee I'm going to get around to all of these, but I'm going to try to get around to as many of the new releases as I possibly can. I'm just going to go through these new releases quite quickly because I've already done a whole other video about them, and if you want to hear more about them, I'll have that link down below. But to just kind of go over them very quickly, we have the Wisdom of Crowds, Feather and Flame, Jade, Fire, Gold, Fall of Babel, Vespertine, Little Thieves, Keeper of Night, Bone Shard Emperor, Cytonic, Our Violent Ends, Skin of the Sea, Iron Widow, She Who Rides the Storm, and Defy the Night. Getting into non-brand new fall releases, we have She Who Became the Sun. This is actually a new release of this year, and it's one I've heard basically nothing but good things about. It's historical fantasy, so it's kind of a reimagining of Chinese history. It's supposedly a lot of political fantasy and a lot of military fantasy, which I'm very excited about. Next up, we have a book that I have been meaning to read for so long, and it's one of the books from this year that I said I wanted to get around to that is a translated work, and that would be Night Watch. So I believe it's originally in Russian, and I think it's more paranormal type of fantasy. I think there are things like vampires, and I have heard really good things from the people who have picked it up. I just haven't gotten around to it. Next up, I would like to finally start Chronicles of the Unhewn Throne. So this is one of those series that I have been meaning to pick up for so long and just haven't gotten around to it. I have heard really fantastic things from a lot of people. I don't know all that much about it though. I have the entire trilogy because I found it at my local used bookstore for a very affordable price, and I was like, well, okay, this sounds cool. And I picked it up and then just have never gotten around to it. And also I know this author recently released a new book that I believe takes place in that world. So there's definitely a lot there. Even if I get through that whole trilogy and I end up really liking it, it's not over. I can always have something else to go to. Next up is what I know a lot of you are going to be very excited about, which would be the 5th season. So I tried the 5th season years ago and then DNF'd it. And not because I hated it and thought it was the worst thing I'd ever picked up. It was just, I think people who have read this book know that it has a very interesting way of telling the story. I understand that it serves a purpose, it's an artistic decision, and that the way it comes together and what it represents, it's supposed to be very meaningful and moving. And I just think I didn't really give the book much of a try the first time around. I'm not a big DNFer, but when I do DNF a book, it can take a while for me to try it again if I plan to, and it's been a while, and I do plan to pick it up again, and I would like for sometime in fall to be when I get to it. Next up, we have another translated work, and that would be The Cardinal's Blades. So I saw this compared to Trader's Blades, and I didn't ultimately end up loving Trader's Blade, but I did like the general feel of that story, and I actually really liked the way it started. I liked the writing style, so I'm hoping that this one I'll end up really loving. Next up, we have the first book in a YA duology called Queen's Rising. I haven't seen too many people talk about it, but one of my favorite Bookstagram accounts, they have posted about this book, and I will have their Instagram account in the description bar down below because it's very beautiful. But also I just end up liking quite a few of the books that they talk about. And so I've wanted to pick this one up. It's a duology, which I find picking up YA fantasy in between adult fantasy always really fun and refreshing, kind of helps you get through some of the bigger epic stuff. It's just kind of a nice way to balance everything out. And I've been really liking duologies recently, so if I end up liking this first one, I'll be excited to potentially maybe just go straight into the second. I've also been doing pretty well with series this year, just getting through series that I start. I don't know about all of you, but I do have that bad habit of starting series and then not continuing on. So if I do like this first one, I like that there's only one more after. Speaking of series, I'm hesitant for this next one because there's a lot of books in this series, and that would be Codex Alera. I have heard that this is such a good time. I've heard it's so fun that it's basically Pokemon, and I'm down with that. I think that sounds good. And I didn't hate Dresden Files, which is another series that this author has written. I didn't hate Dresden Files. It's just there's a lot of them. And I just would have rather spent time maybe reading some other things. So Codex Alera, though, is a series that is not as long as Dresden, but it's still got a decent amount of books in it. So I'm hesitant on whether I should start this one, but the fact that there's some kind of monster creature element to the story, I just think fits fall really well. Next up, we have a YA sci-fi, which would be Sky Hunter. So when I did my anticipated releases video, because I hadn't read Sky Hunter yet, I didn't realize that its release was coming out. But if I like Sky Hunter, this is another one that I can just jump right into the sequel for. And Sky Hunter it's really one that I want to jump into because I've picked up 3 Marie Lu books at this point. One of them is a standalone, The Kingdom of Back, which I love. And then the other 2 would be Warcross and Wildcard, which is a duology. And I really liked that duology. Even though everybody says it's not one of Marie Lu's better works, I still had a really fun time with it. I've been trying to get more into sci-fi, and I've had a couple misses, but I think there's just something about Marie Lu's writing that I really enjoy. I mentioned a little bit ago that any kind of animal companion or mythological creature I'm just feeling in the mood for this fall, and so the next couple are in line with that. We have Onyx and Ivory and The Last Namsara, so both of these have some form of dragon. I believe one of them might have wyverns in it, but both of them have something of that sort. I do not know if I'm actually going to be able to get around to this one, but I mentioned in my video about series I wanted to read this year that I wanted to start Long Price Quartet. I don't know if I can get around to this one because this is one that I wanted to try to read the entire series because my friend Alan from Library of Alexandria has said that this is a series that as you read the series, you appreciate earlier books more. And I think to really appreciate everything that the author does, that I would want to not wait too long between books. So I'm almost hesitant to start it because I don't know if I'll get around to it. There's so many books that I want to read this fall that I'm almost wondering if it'd be better to wait. But maybe I'll end up surprising myself and reading a bunch and then getting ahead of schedule, and then I can read this one. But I'm not totally sure yet. Let me know if I need to put it top of the list. Next up, we have Firekeeper's Daughter. I have seen nothing but amazing things about this book. It is a newer release of this year. It has just been taking people off their feet. I don't think it's actually really fantasy. I believe it's more rooted in our own world, and it has to do with Native Americans. I don't know a whole lot about it. I believe there's kind of like a mystery thriller aspect to it, but I don't want to know too much going into this one. I've just heard really good things, and I'm hoping to pick it up soon. The next 3 books are all anticipated releases that I had for this year that I just haven't picked up, so I'm just going to list them off really quick. We have The Unbroken, Son of the Storm, and The Conductor, so I'm hoping to get around to all 3 of these. I also would love, if I have the chance, to complete the Wolf of Oren-Yaru series. The last one would be The Dragon of Jin Saying, and that would be the 3rd and final book of that trilogy. I do have some buddy read books that I had planned to read with my friend Jessie, so I also have a list of those. But these are a rough view of some books I'm hoping to pick up this fall. Let me know what books are at the top of your fall TBR. Let me know what books I mentioned that you think I really should bump up to being at the very top. I have to get around to these. And then of course, don't forget to check out GlassesUSA.com. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Bye.